W-T-L.
It's time!
W-T-L.
I think we got a show. Oh yeah, we got a show.
W-T-L.
And welcome back to WTL, everybody. I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
Oh, the Parlay Pounder.
Yes, sir.
This is Where's the Line, Nebraska's one and only sports betting show. And here we go, getting into a Big 12, Big 10 slate. A lot of games of interest here.
For sure.
And let's just get into the big noon kickoff on Fox.
Yeah.
That is Michigan. The Wolverines flying high, flying into Hawkeye Stadium there in Iowa City, taking on the Hawkeyes.
Yeah. Andy, on this one, the line's sitting right there at 10.5 towards the Wolverines.
Yeah.
The over-under is sitting at 42 points right now. Iowa is just an intriguing case study, aren't they?
Yeah.
The defense seems their best source of offense. Last week on the road against Rutgers, Iowa scored 2 touchdowns on the defensive, and then 13 points elsewhere, en route to 27-10 victory.
Yeah.
Now it faces a far better Michigan team that is going to try and keep this game on the ground. They just had a hard-fought win against Maryland that we kind of, called, correctly last week.
We did. Got that one right.
Blake Corum rushed for 243 yards on 30 carries last week for him. But the Iowa defense is fantastic, Andy.
Yes.
Top 10 success rate in all categories across the nation. I don't trust Spencer Petras to put up, points against a strong Michigan defense either.
No,
but the Wolverines aren't going to push the pace. Neither team plays fast. Each is outside the top 100 in plays per minute this season. Iowa wants to play a low-scoring game, and it's going to get it.
You said 10.5 there.
Yes.
And that's what I saw a lot earlier. And now I'm seeing 11. And I might just jump on that because I really think the Hawkeyes can keep it closer just due to defense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of points on the road in the Big Ten. I know it's really easy to throw shade at Iowa and to joke around about it. But I just think the pace of the game, their defense, all those different factors, their offense has to wake up sometime, doesn't it? Doesn't it?
I don't know if
I think Maryland gave them something to look at, too.
Yeah, for sure.
We talked about, Michigan, they're averaging 47 points per game.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, but that was one of the easiest schedules. I mean, not Nebraska easy when you talk about the first 3 games, but still pretty gosh darn easy, Hawaii and folks like that.
For sure.
Then they got tested against Maryland.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a greater test for them. This defense for Iowa is legit.
Yeah, for sure. Like I said, Iowa and Michigan both are going to play, low-scoring games in the Big Ten. And what I'm really looking at here, Andy, is that under 42 points. I really think that's is
probably the safest bet.
I think that's a lock. I don't want to stretch Michigan out too far on the minus 10.5, but I don't think Iowa's a bad play either.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and that's a lot of points on the road. But you're probably right, and that's where just about half the money's going on that under
for sure.
A lot of times you see the over just getting smashed.
Right.
Everyone kind of pumped the brakes.
Yeah.
With this one.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to a Big 12 game here.
Yeah.
That would be Texas taking on number 25 ranked Kansas State, and I guess they got like a signature win or something about a week ago. A lot of eyeballs were watching that one. That's going to be noon kickoff on ESPN.
Yeah, Andy. It's actually Texas Tech. Versus the Kansas State Wildcats. Number 25 in the nation just took down Oklahoma. Adrian Martinez probably played the best game of his life. 5 touchdowns.
Really
good. Just looked really, really good. It was a really fun game to watch, Andy.
It was.
But storyline here is, can Kansas State do it again?
Yeah, because didn't they just lose to the Green Wave?
They just lost to Tulane, the Green Wave, the week before. But this one is at home, Andy. The Wildcats are, on the verge of another sellout.
Wow.
Yeah.
2 in a row.
This matchup bodes well for the Wildcats as the week Texas Tech offensive line won't be able to slow down K-State's front seven.
I've heard a lot of that chatter.
And I really do think Adrian Martinez has his legs under him now at the new stadium, behind the new fans and all that kind of stuff. I see Kansas State winning this one 31-24.
31-24. And that's something that I've, and a lot of other Husker fans out there have been looking for is, all right, well, when's Adrian going to put the ball on the turf? And he didn't do that in Oklahoma.
No.
In the biggest moments, he came up huge. That 3rd and 16, that scramble, like that was just vintage year one freshman. And I was, like all Husker fans were like, wow, we have 3 more years of that.
There's that guy.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
But I couldn't be happier for the young man. And other than that little screw up, we'll call it, against Tulane, they are 3-1 ATS.
Yeah.
I like the Wildcats as well.
Heck
Texas Tech's not showing me. I mean, their record's 3-1, but besides that was a soft schedule to start things off with.
Yeah, for sure.
Now they're going to a hostile environment. I think Kansas State, now that they've felt some success, they know they can do it.
Yep.
I don't view this as your traditional layover game, trap game, whatever you want to call it. I think it's all hands on deck. They are ready to go.
Yeah, and like we're saying that most books are sitting there at that 7.5, Andy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel quite good enough to go K-State 7.5. I would buy a point down to go 6.5 or at 7 straight up. I think they're going to win by a touchdown, but that's where they're going to get you with that 7.5.
Yeah, and that's a very interesting point. And you took me to another place because now a lot of books I'm looking at here. I'm looking at multiple books. -8.
Mm-hmm.
-8. So that's going in the wrong direction. So that's where I might sprinkle something on Texas Tech.
Exactly.
Like I think Kansas State's going to win. I do. It's at home. All those things. But come on now. Texas Tech's a good squad. Good enough. Good enough
to cover 8-point or a 10-point spread. So, and if you guys are feeling a little bit weary on that, the -280 money line for Kansas State is always a good parlay piece.
Nice. Put that in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Might be a little foreshadowing.
Yes, sir.
There. All righty, let's move on to number 9, Oklahoma, taking on number 16, Baylor.
Yeah.
High-profile game here.
Yeah. Like you said, it's a Big 12 matchup. Number 9, Oklahoma State versus number 16, Baylor. Oklahoma State coming in undefeated at 3-0. Baylor at 3-1. The line sitting right now at -2 towards the Baylor Bears. Over-under sitting at 57, Andy.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things going on here. 2 really good offenses, right? Yeah. Nebraska's future coach and Dave Aranda, I guess, I'm hearing that, is over there for Baylor. And it was kind of funny listening to people, kind of talk about that and bring that up. And, I like the way he's getting into it with his players. I like how it is. I don't make too much of that. I like where this line's at. And it's tough to predict. I mean, I'm looking at -2 Baylor.
Yes.
Is that where you're at with it?
For sure.
And I don't know what I'm thinking of the over-under either. Like, I think they're spot on, 56.5 here.
Yeah, Andy. The one thing that I do like in this matchup is the over. I do think this is going to be a classic Big 12 shootout. The unit I trust the most is Oklahoma State's offense, led by Spencer Sanders, who has had 10 touchdowns and nearly 1,000 yards through 3 games. I can't see this game finishing like 21-16 or anything like that, like it did a year ago. I think it's going to be a classic Big 12 shootout, and 56.5 or 57. I like it. I like going over there.
That's hilarious because you are with the crowd there, 100%. I'm not kidding you. I just dug this up.
All right.
100% of the bets are going in on the over at 56.5. I mean, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Traditional Big 12 shootout. And these are 2 of the usual suspects when you think of high-flying offenses.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State, the Baylor Bears, and they kind of mirror one another, and that's why that point spread is so tight right now. So that might be the best bet out there if you're looking at this game, that over-under.
For sure.
All righty, let's get into the game that everybody
Heck yeah.
wants to know about. That is Indiana, the Hoosiers. It's a basketball school.
Yeah.
Traveling to Nebraska, Lincoln to take on the Cornhuskers.
Yeah. My book's sitting right here at -5 towards the Huskers.
Okay.
The Nebraska Huskers are picked at -5, and the over-under is sitting at 60 on my side, Andy.
You're still at -5.
Yeah.
I thought I've been seeing 6, maybe even 6.5.
It went back down today.
It went back down? Okay.
Yeah. So it opened up at 3.5, Andy, towards the Huskers, shot all the way up to 6.5, and now it's back down to 5.
Why? Why?
So initially, I think there was a pouring of Nebraska fans putting money on the Huskers to cover 3.5, which shot it up to 6.5. Now I think so many bets have either went on Indiana money line or the Indiana spread that it's evened itself out.
Okay. So the why there is that there's anxious, would you call it, Nebraska fans pumping that lineup. And I think the Twitter handle sent out a tweet where some books opened up at like Nebraska plus 2.5, and it shot up right away to that 3.5. What you're saying,
correct?
Like, I mean, just like that,
exactly.
And then all the way up to 6.5 before the the end of the day.
Yeah,
came back down to 5. Even at 5, I think I like Indiana.
Well, Andy, here's one point: did Nebraska get better at college football in the off week? Did the 127th best defense in college football figure it out?
127th best.
Is the pass
Love
rush?
how you frame that.
Is the pass rush going to show up now? Is the Big Ten's worst pass defense going to get better? And will the worst punt return in college football fix the glitch? Now, that is about 4 or 5 points that we know that all of them won't be fixed this week. But are we scared of this Indiana team that comes in at 3-1?
I mean, they got a great offense. I like what they got on offense. Oh, thank God I got saved by the bell here.
Yeah.
But Nebraska's just been beating up bettors, and they are tied for the worst in the nation at 0-4 against the spread.
Yeah.
Okay, and they've had one of the easiest schedules to start the season. Like, just look at this. Like you would any other team.
I gotcha.
You know what I mean? Everything points at Indiana easily covered, especially if you wait till closer to kickoff, it might get back up to like 6.5.
Yeah, it could. It definitely could with about what I'm about ready to say. Get ready for the rejuvenated Nebraska Cornhuskers. We've thought all this before and got hurt time and time again, but Mickey Joseph and the rest of the staff has they've settled in a little bit. Getting a break will do wonders. This offensive comes out with a real spark this week. We win the game 34-30. We don't cover, but we win the game.
All right. That's some Husker positivity there.
There you go.
With a little bit of sense pumped into it as well, saying we're not going to cover, but the Huskers are going to win outright. So you like the Husker money line, but you like Indiana covering. What about that over-under, real quick?
I think it's going to hit. I think the over will hit. I think there will be over 60 points scored in this game. Yeah. If we get lucky, it's going to be a 42 to 28-point victory for the Huskers. Yeah. But like I said, I think both teams are in the 30s, and hopefully Nebraska squeaks out with a field goal or a late touchdown to put it over that 60.
Current history would tell you that defense is going to be hard to come by, really, for both teams here. So I like where you're leaning on all that, other than maybe the money line bet. But all right, folks, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more WTL.